know, it has literally been forever since I've recorded a video. I apologize. I have been getting married, moving, going across the world, but now I'm back in my new space. Hello, married, let's go. And it's August. Literally, where is the time going? It is going so fast. I feel like June and July literally flew by because I was on an airplane for the majority of it. So, but we had a great time in Greece. We got to go to Hawaii. We went to Haiti. We went to Colorado. Been all around the world and back. But now I'm here for good. Thank you, Jesus. And today's video is super exciting because I got so many questions and requests for me to film this video about the makeup look I wore at our wedding. So I did my own makeup for my wedding. I know a lot of people are like, you did your own makeup? Isn't that so stressful? No. What's stressful is sitting in the hands of someone else doing your makeup and then wasting like an hour and a half, getting up, hating it, and then doing it all over again. And I've done that way too many times. So I was like, no, hands down, I am doing my own makeup for our wedding. So I did my makeup. It was super easy. Ended up loving the way it looked and it photographed so good. So I wanted to show you guys in case you are wanting to do your own makeup for your wedding and you want to know what products I used because they lasted literally all day long and they didn't budge. We took photos like at the very end of the night and my makeup looked the same. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures of the way my makeup photographed. So this right here is the makeup look. I did like a super soft, almost like blown out smoky lash line situation because I knew I did not want like a harsh just black line or like a cat eye, like none of that. I did not want a lot of liner going on because that can just sometimes look like too much. And I really love the look of like a smoked out lash line with like super fluttery fake lashes. I think that's super like girly and flirty and just real cute. So that is what I went with on my eyeballs, and I just did like a peachy pinky nude color and kept the skin pretty much how I always wear it. I do have a few new products that I've fallen in love with that I bought for the wedding. Went a little overboard on makeup, but it's some real good stuff and it worked really well and it photographed amazingly. So I'm gonna stop talking. I can't stop talking. I feel like there's a lot for me to say because it's been so long since I've been here, but hello. Okay, I'm done now. We're gonna get started and move on to the makeup look. Alright, so I already have all my skincare on my face. I used just the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel Cream. I use that every single day, morning and night. And I also have the L'Occitane Youth Oil on my face. And then I've also been using the Tula Under Eye Brightening Balm Stick, the Glow and Get It. I had this on earlier, but I'm just gonna put a tiny bit more on because it has disappeared. And I don't know if you can see, but it kind of just gives you like a super bright glow. It definitely does absolutely nothing for your dark circles, but it gives you like a nice little sheen, which looks really pretty under makeup. So I think that is just an extra step that I've been doing. It's definitely not necessary, but I think it's pretty. So, and I kind of just blend it out into my cheekbone area. Alright, so I used two primers on our wedding day, and I went in with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer first. This stuff's kind of different. If you haven't used it, definitely go with the miniature version first, which is what I've done, and it's still lasting me forever. Just to see if you like it, because it is unlike any primer I've ever used. It is like so sticky, and you literally just pat it on until it's like so sticky that you can't take it anymore, and then you know it's good, and then you move on. So you just pat it in, and it's super sticky, but it keeps your makeup on for so long, like so long. And my face did not like crack or get crusty or have like smile lines or like anything like that. Like by the end of the night, like 10:30, still going strong. I think that is a combo between the primer and the foundation I'm going to show you in a second, but the primer is still real good. And then I also use a little bit of the YSL Touche Clot Blur Primer, another miniature because that's expensive. And I just put this on my pore situation, right around my nose, on my nose. Whatever's left over, I'll just put on my chin and my forehead because that's where I get real liney. For foundation, I have been loving the L'Oreal Infallible Up to 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. Like, it's so good. It is so much better than all of the high-end foundations I've been using. Like, since the beginning of time, I've been trying to find a foundation that I'm just obsessed with, and I have not found it until this guy. This completely beats my like NARS one and all of the like the Too Faced Born This Way, like every fancy one. Like, this is so much better and so much cheaper. and I can't say enough good things about it. I'm wearing the shade 430 right now, which is probably too dark because I have not a single ounce of tan, but I'm going in with the Beauty Blender and putting this all over my face. It feels so lightweight on. As you can see, it's kind of running down my hand. It's a bit watery, but I have real dry skin, so it really works for me. And it dries down to, I would say, like a natural finish. It's slightly matte. It's not dewy, but it doesn't look like cake face, and it doesn't look like disco ball. Like, it's just that perfect in between natural finish. And it photographed, like I said, really well. I don't believe it has any SPF. Oh, actually it does. It has SPF 25. But we had some flash photos taken at our reception, and it did not give me any flashback, which is awesome. And it is the one and only foundation that does not crease in my smile lines. Like, it's unbelievable. I was telling, like, literally everybody at the wedding, like, this is the only foundation that I've ever tried in my life that doesn't crease in my smile line. And I have really, really bad ones. And no matter what I do, what I put on it, what primers I use, anything, it just happens. But with this one, it does not happen, which is just incredible. And even though I like smiled all day long and took 1 million photos, it still looked good around my mouth and my nose and all that. Okay, since this is a little too dark, I'm gonna have to blend it down my neck. I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more. This is, I think, 3-ish pumps, maybe like 2.5 on my face right now, and then this is 2 more. Okay, so here is the foundation all blended out. So I basically did about 5 pumps for my whole face, and I just love the way that it sits on my skin, and this little subtle glow right here on my cheekbone. I think it is gorgeous. You could definitely get away with not setting it if you have dry skin. I only set in certain areas, like under my eyes, around my mouth, nose, forehead line situation, but like I sometimes leave this high cheekbone part unpowdered just because I love the way that that little glow looks. So really love this foundation. Definitely give it a try. And it's not that expensive, and it's really good, and it's better than ours. So moving on to concealer. This part's boring because I will only ever use heart-shaped tape. So I'm gonna skip through this part real quick, but I do use a combo of way too many. So I start with light neutral. No, I don't. I start with light medium sand, and then I go in with light neutral, and then if it's still not bright enough, I go in with a little bit of fair. I know, I'm crazy, but just leave me alone, okay? Moving on. Alright, so I just finished up my concealer and setting underneath my eyes with the RCMA No Color Powder. Again, the only thing I use under my eyes, so I thought I would just save you the trouble of watching. But I do use a new product. It's not new. Another product that I haven't always used, and it is the Bare Minerals Well Rested Powder Concealer. I used to use this a long time ago when I was in like middle school, and it was like the only thing I found that would help cover up these bad boys under my eyes. But so I just use it now on top of my powder that is actually setting, because if I go in with it on my damp concealer, it's like a clumpy, bally uppy mess. It's disgusting. So I just use a tiny bit on the Real Techniques little, I don't even know what this is. Oh, setting brush. So I just use this, and I just tap off most of the excess, and I just go under there just to brighten ever so slightly. And it is super finely milled powder, but you can use too much. I have been there. I just think it adds another layer of brightness under there, and it helps to kind of smooth everything out and set it just a tiny bit more, because I just have a lot of wrinkles under there and it gets a little crazy. But I just think it looks so much better once I go in with that extra step, but feel free to leave all that out. Feel free to leave all of these steps out because it's a lot. Okay, so moving on to bronzer, blush, highlight. I don't have a new bronzer. I've been using Old Faithful, which is just the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Sometimes I go in with the Baked Bronzer by Milani, just to add like a sheen to the top of my cheeks, and I use the shade Soleil, and I use the original bronzer shade in the Physicians Formula. So I'm just going to throw that on really quick with my Morphe M527. Sorry, words are hard. And I haven't set the rest of my face. I've only set under my eyes and down here onto my chin and a little bit around my nose and mouth. If I were to set the rest of my face, like around here, up in this general area, I would use the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless finish powder, and I have the shade 2. Another really good powder is the Micro Smooth powder by the Sephora collection. I really like that as well. So I really didn't contour when I did my makeup on our wedding day. I just don't really do that anymore, and that has a tendency to go really wrong really fast. So I just prefer to use a big fluffy brush and do like an all over cheek color situation. That way it doesn't look like harsh lines, mud on your face, none of that. So I just stick to bronzer. So I went in first with the matte bronzer, and then this is the Milani baked bronzer that has a little bit of like a golden glow. So pretty. Oh, forgot to put a powder on my face. So this is a totally unnecessary step. I was feeling a little bougie a few days before our wedding, going to Sephora, Ulta, MAC, everywhere, and looking for like brand new makeup. I don't know what I was doing, but I bought this. This is the Hourglass Luminous Light Ambient Lighting Powder. This one is, not gonna lie, a little too dark for my skin. It worked when I had my fake tan. Right now, might look a little crazy, but it's really like so unnecessary. You can use it to set your face. I don't know if I'd advise that because I feel like it would cling in weird spots if you have something super damp going on. But it is just like a luminous finishing powder. So if I were you, I would like set everything and then go in with this as an extra like step. So that's what I'm gonna do. Usually I would put this on before I put blush and bronzer and all that on, but I forgot, which is so cool. So yeah, I just put on this brush, which is probably not the best brush. So I don't know if you can tell, but it kind of just really glows. Like look at my nose. It looks like I have highlight on, but I don't. So it's a lot less chunkier than a highlight, but it could be your highlight. Like, look at that, girl. So I kind of put this like everywhere, and then I go in with like an actual highlight just where you would like highlight, and then that way you kind of have a glow from everywhere, within, without. No matter what lighting situation you're in, you're glowing, and it's not just on your cheekbones, which is what I like. But it might be too much for you, and it's a very unnecessary step, but it photographed really pretty. Okay, the blush I actually used on our wedding day shattered, so I don't have that right now. It was the L'Oreal baked blush situation. It kind of has like browns and pinks and some shimmer in it, so it's basically like a bronzer blush highlight situation that's all like swirled together, and then it's baked. I don't know what that does, but I really liked it and I love the glow, but it's gone, so I'm gonna have to get another one. So I'm just gonna use literally what I have right here, which is the Zoella and ColourPop collab pressed blush in the shade Soulmate, and it's matte, which is not my first choice, but it's okay. And then for highlight, I'm gonna use my favorite highlight ever, better than anything I've ever tried, and it is not that expensive. You get it at Target. It's the Pixie by Petra Glowy Gossamer Duo. I used to use Subtle Sunrise, but I don't think they sell that anymore because I can't find it anywhere. So this is the Delicate Dew combo, and we got a gold, and we've got more of like a champagne pinky shade. So I kind of just do a swirl-a-roo and use a combo of both. Okay, then to melt all my powders, I'm just going to go in with my classic duo of MAC Fix Plus and the setting spray by Morphe, and then we're going to move on to our eyeballs. Alright, my face is still drying, but we're just going to move right along. I'm going to do my eyebrows really quickly. You don't have to watch this part. I'm going to skip through it, but I do want to tell you what I use. So typically on any given day, I literally only use brow gel, and I use Gimme Brow Benefit in the shade 6. And I just run it through my eyebrows because I'm letting them kind of just do what they want, grow out, be bushy. I live for that. So I don't typically like fill them in, but on our wedding day I did fill them in with powder, and I just used a dark brown powder shadow that matches my hair. This was actually a Root Touch-Up powder by Madison Reed. They do advertise this powder as also being for your eyebrows, but its main purpose is for your roots. But I use it for my eyebrows because it's the only thing I have, and it works great. So I fill in my eyebrows ever so sparsely, mainly in the very beginning of my brow, just to give it a little bit more of a structure, but I definitely don't want like box brows. So I'm gonna just replicate what I did that day, but if it was any other day, I would skip this step. Alright, 45 years later, my eyebrows are done, and turns out I was going for that boxy brow look today because I don't know what happened, but they are super overgrown, and they were not like this on the wedding day. They were a lot more neat, but I actually don't care at all. So we're moving right along to our eyes. So I have Shape Tape on my lids, and I'm just going to blend that out and then set it with a tiny bit of translucent powder because I don't believe in eye primer. Alright, so I started my eyes and my camera stopped working, so I'm going to start over. Just pretend like there's no eyeshadow on my eyes. Anyways, so I don't exactly remember the shadows, like every single shadow word for word of what I used on a wedding day. I just know that I did like a smoky soft brown blown out lash line type look, and I only ever use ColourPop shadows. So I have 3 ColourPop palettes right here. I have the Sweet Talk, the Yes Please, and the California Love. They're all pretty similar, very warm, a few different metallics and shimmers in them, but a lot of really good matte options. We got some like rusty color, oranges, browns, yellows, all that fun stuff. So I just went in first with a big fluffy brush, and this is the Morphe M533, and I'm just gonna run a soft brown color in my crease, which is what we kind of already have going on right here. And this is just gonna like help us with blending and just get the ball rolling. So okay, so up next I'm going to go in with just a tad bit of a darker brown. So I'm going to use this one right here from the Sweet Talk palette, and I believe that's the shade Melody, but I honestly don't know how the names on the back work with these shadows. But so I'm going to go in with a smaller blending brush and just pack this on my outer corner, blending a little bit into my crease, but keeping it actually a little bit lower than usual and blending towards the lash line. So to get the like blended out smoky lash line look that I wore at our wedding, you kind of like blend a ton of colors on top of each other, like right here and then up, like in that motion, like like that, and then you take whatever's left on the brush and blend it forward like in the crease. That's how I achieved like the smoky look on my lash line. So I'm gonna go in with this darker brown. It's still not my darkest brown that I'll be using because we're just gonna keep layering and layering colors until I get the desired effect. So I'm actually going to start with the brush like angled down towards my lash line and go up at an angle, kind of how you would with like a cat eye. Like you're going in with your liner and you're going to like flick it out. I'm going to do that same motion here. And then once you get to the crease, so you get up here, you're going to start packing it into that outer corner and then blending it in the crease. Okay, so we're just going to repeat that step with an even darker brown, but this time I'm actually going to use more of like a rusty color. Oh my gosh, I just realized the names of the shadows are freaking underneath them. So I don't know why they're on the back because they're also underneath them. I don't know why it took me this long to realize that. So I'm going to use G&O, which is basically just like an orange, but it's like a rusty brown. And I'm going to do the exact same thing and just blend right on top of that with the same brush. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my darkest shade, and you can use any dark brown. I'm just going to use this one right here from the Yes Please palette. This is French Kiss. And this palette and then the Sweet Talk palette, like I said, are pretty dang similar, and both of those browns are pretty close to the same. So either of those would work, or there's a really pretty brown in the California Love palette. It's called Mission, and it has got a tiny bit of sparkle to it, but it is way more of a neutral brown. These other two are like purpley browns, so I might do a mix of one of the purpley browns and the neutral brown in case it starts to pull a little too cool. But for the wedding, I did use one from Yes Please. So I'm actually going to take this brown on the exact same brush first, and then I'm going to do a little bit more of detail-y stuff with smaller brushes in a second. But this I'm going to keep pretty low. I'm not going to do too much of that blending up over situation. I'm going to try to do this as low as I can, but still smoking it out a little bit so that it's not just like an abrupt darkness at the lash line. Now I'm going to take this way flatter brush, and it's super small. This is by Morphe. It came in a set, so it doesn't have a name, but it looks like this. And I'm going to start to really blend it across my lash line in almost like a liner way, just so that it doesn't look just like random dark. It's going to be kind of like acting as our liner. And then I'm just gonna smoke that out with the brush. I'm just going to keep going over on the outer corners and then blending out, just so that, because once you start blending, it kind of starts to fade and get a little less intense, which is good though, because you're kind of fading it out on the edges, but then keeping the intense color at the lash line, which is what we want. So you just have to do a lot of back and forth, but it ends up looking super, super pretty. And it's okay if you get it a little bit like on your lid space, because we're going to go in with a little bit of a soft shimmer there, and it'll help to cover that up. And then for my lower lash line, I really just blended a bunch of browns under there, and I kept it pretty warm. So I'm just going to grab this same second flat brush and just grab a mixture of that G&O color and an orange and then our darkest brown, and just run it along my lower lash line and then call it a day. A helpful tip for your wedding day is, like, you're afraid, oh, to wear makeup down there, you're just gonna cry and then it's gonna go everywhere and like all that. Also, waterproof mascara is your friend, but having a smoked out situation before you even start crying is actually better, because then once you do and you're like, you're like patting your tears and not letting them drag down your face. Another tip, when you're patting and you're like rubbing and kind of smearing, it's okay, because you're adding to that like already smoked out, blown out look, which is better than opposed to having like just a harsh stark line of eyeliner down there, and then once that gets messed up, the whole world knows. But once, if you already have this like smoked out, blown out, messy situation going underneath your eyelash, going on underneath your eyes, then it's very hard to tell when it gets messed up, because it just looks smoky and it adds to the effect. I definitely didn't want like a full-on metallic eyelid, and I really debated on whether I should put any shimmer on or not, and then I remember doing it and like thinking like, oh no, what have I done? But then I ended up really liking it, but so I didn't do a ton, but I did go in first with a matte, just a tiny bit, just to kind of create a separation between the smoked out crease to the liner. I wanted to create some type of space right there, because it was starting to get muddled together, which is what's happening right now. So I'm just gonna take this color right here, and it is like a skin tony pink kind of color, and this is from the Sweet Talk palette. Nope. So I'm just going to take this color right here, and this is like a skin tony pink shade, and this is from the Yes Please palette. It's a little bit peachy, and I'm just going to barely dab this on my like inner third lid space, just to create, again, like a separation. Okay, kind of like that. Now you can see, like, when I look down, that it doesn't just look like a bunch of brown everywhere, which is cute, but it's not the look we're going for. So back to like the touch of shimmer, I use the Kaja Orange Blossom, just like trio situation that I use all the time, and I use this first color like every single day. I don't ever touch these other ones. They're pretty, but this one is my favorite, and I just go in with my finger, and it's like a pinky golden color, and it's not too much. It's real pretty, girl. It just adds a little touch some. And then you can see, like, when the light hits, dead. Okay, so I did wear a little bit of liner, but I didn't wear like what I normally would do. I started to get into like the gel liner thing, which is very unlike me. But so all I really do with it is smudge it and smoke it like really in my lashes, basically, like barely to where you can see it, but mostly just there to fill in my lashes, to create a fuller lash look, to create more definition. That way it doesn't look like my fake lashes are just like sitting on nothing with all this eyeshadow. It's like, where's your eyeliner? So I just use a tiny bit of this, and I actually use it on the same flat Morphe brush that I've been using to blend out the shadow there. And we just are gonna like throw this in that shadow mix and really like smoke it out. And then if you want, you can go ahead and blend a tiny bit of this in your lower lash lines. Last line, we have one. To just create some definition down there and to kind of just bring the look around like full circle. So I'm just going to do a touch of that like as close to my lashes as I can, just so I don't create like a full-on smoky black eye. And then once I put my lashes on, I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of liquid pen liner and kind of connect where the lash kind of stops on your inner corner to your very inner corner. And just put a very tiny line there just so it doesn't look super obvious like, oh, she's not wearing like full on liner and oh, that's where her lashes end. So we don't want that. So really quickly, I'm going to just throw on mascara and lashes. Mascara I use all the time is the Lancome Monsieur Big Mascara. That is my favorite. I use the waterproof version on my wedding day, which I highly recommend. But I'm going to use the non-waterproof today because waterproof is challenging to take off, but it works, which is a good thing. But I am just going to use the regular one today. This is like the limited edition packaging. Gorgeous! And then the lashes I wore were the Kiss 11 lashes. I don't have to cut these to fit my eye, but go ahead and make sure ahead of time that you know like how much you're cutting off before you glue it down, because then you'll have like a real big problem. Like I've been there, trust me. Like I cut off my own lashes because I had a lash glued to my eye that was too big and I was too lazy to take it off and start over. So that was a really good day. You should have been there. So I'm just going to pop these lashes on, and typically I use the Kiss Lash Glue, the black one that is latex free and it dries so fast. It's so good, but I am fresh out. So I'm just going to use the dark tone of Duo and throw these guys on, and then I will be right back to finish off the look with our lippity doodads, and then we'll be done. Okay, so now I have all my lash stuff on. So mascara first, then my lashes, and I went in with a little more mascara. And these lashes are my favorite. When I used to do like client work, these are the ones I put on every single bride, and it looks good on so many different eye shapes, and it really like shows your eyeshadow look but still gives you like a lot of volume, which is what I really liked, because you can still see all that work you put in on your lid, but you still have like a lot of lashes going for you. So I think these are gorgeous. And then as you can see now, once we have the lashes on, it was looking like, wow, this is a little smoky, a little dark, a little glam for wedding day, but now with the lashes on, the smoked out lash line doesn't look all that heavy anymore, and it just looks like soft and pretty, which is what I really love. So I'm just gonna highlight my inner corners using the same highlight we use on our face. And again, I just use my finger because it's so much easier, I think, when you're working with shimmers and stuff. And I use the lighter of the two in this duo. That is so pretty. So really quickly, I am just going to use a liquid pen like I was talking about and fill in that inner gap so you can see like where my natural inner corner is to where the fake lashes stop. I'm just going to fill that in with a so skinny line. I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera, but I can tell the difference, and I think it just makes a world of a difference. So the eyeballs are all finished. This is pretty much identical to what it looked like when I wore it on our wedding day. It might be a little bit darker in my outer corner, which I'm not mad at. Looking back at photos, I do wish I had a tiny bit more makeup on, especially blush. So right about now, once you have like everything on, it's a good time to like double check, like, am I wearing enough bronzer for the amount of shadow I'm wearing? Is my blush bright enough for the lip color that I'm wearing, and all of that stuff? So I'll probably go in with a tiny bit more blush once lips are on. So I just used a Sephora Collection nudish pink lip liner. You can use anything that you want, and I'm just gonna barely line my lips. I'm like the worst, I never line them. And then I used like a random combo of like 100 lipsticks. I was just throwing things on there until it ended up looking exactly what I wanted. My favorite liquid lipstick formula of all time is the Sephora Collection Cream Liquid Lip Stain. So I literally went in with 3 because I could not decide like the vibe I was trying to go for. So the first shade I'm going to use is the shade, I think they're all just numbers. I don't know. It says shade 72, so it's dark. And when I put this on, I was like, oh crap, that might be too dark. So I ended up just using this as kind of like an ombre thing. So like I use this on the outer corners and on the edges. So I definitely wanted to brighten it. So then I went in with the shade 74, which is like a soft peachy baby pink. This ended up being too light, and I was like, what have I done? So I just put this in the center and then just smack together until you kind of blend it all out. So I found this, which is it dries down, like it is a liquid lipstick, but it has shimmer in it. So it ended up being like exactly what I wanted because it didn't budge, but it had kind of like a glow to it. So it went with like the inner corner, the cheek highlight, the eye, like everything. So I just ran one thin layer of this shade, which is shade 5, same exact formula, over all of it to like be the last like thing that kind of blended it all and finished it off. Okay guys, so this is the completed look. This is basically exactly what my makeup looked like at our wedding. I hope you found it helpful, and if you're thinking about doing your own makeup and you always do your own makeup and you love how you're doing your makeup, then do it, because people are going to try to talk you out of it. And I thought about it for a long time, like, no, maybe I should just have somebody do it so I don't have to worry about it and all this crap. But like, I love doing makeup, so it was like one of the best parts of like getting ready was getting to do my own makeup. And definitely schedule enough time for you so that you have like all the time in the world. You can take your time, you can have fun, and you can like still be there with your girlfriends who are maybe getting their hair or their makeup done, and like also have time to eat and to dance to that playlist that you made. Like, make sure you have enough time, because you don't want to be doing your own makeup and like frantically freaking out and like your lashes aren't cooperating and you only give yourself X amount of time and like all of that. So make sure you definitely give yourself enough time, but if you're thinking about doing it, I would say just go ahead and do it, because I ended up loving it, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you did your own? I'm like, yeah girl, I did my own. So I will link all of the products down below like I always do. Be sure to follow me on Instagram because I have been posting a lot of pictures from our wedding, and also to head over to my blog, which is also going to be in the description box, because I have a bunch of wedding blog posts going up, and also honeymoon, travel guides, all that kind of stuff. There is currently one blog post up about all the vendors that we use. There's one going up about where I got my dress, my shoes, my jewelry, all of that stuff. In that blog post, there's going to be like shoppable links to all the stuff in case you're like trying to find a wedding dress, trying to find bridesmaids gifts, trying to find all those things. So head to my blog. And yeah girl, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you found it helpful, and I will see you in the next one.